Welcome to this interview. I have the great honor of speaking to Vanessa Challess, who is a serial entrepreneur, owner of 4 law firms, has faced amazing hardship, is a dedicated mum, and is now enjoying well-earned success. In this interview, Vanessa is going to be sharing with you industry insights that's going to be perfect for you if you're a law firm owner or partner in what it really takes to succeed, to both creating the lifestyle you love whilst also hitting those dream financial targets. Vanessa, it's so brilliant to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
So we've been working together now a year, pretty much a year to date. And I think it'd be great to just hear, like, what were you dealing with before you even knew about me? Like, what were the kind of challenges that you were facing?
Oh, I was dealing with the consequences of my own decisions. You know, when you're the boss, that's where it rests. And my decisions led to issues with team dynamics, the HR aspect of all of that, processes not being where they should be, and this feeling of constantly firefighting. So I would be putting out one fire and 2 more would be springing up, and the exhaustion that entails. You know, by this point, I'm 20 years qualified. Doesn't matter how expert you are in your field, nothing really prepares you for running your own business within that field. So I hate this saying, but the learning curve is practically vertical. It's been quite a journey from 8 years ago to
because a year ago, you still had the 4 businesses that you have now.
That's right. So 2 are law firms, 1 is a legal tech business, and 1 is an HR firm.
Yeah. Okay. Tiger Law being your main business that offers conveyancing solutions, right?
Well, yeah, it grew into that. It wasn't where we started, which again is something that as a business owner, you have to grapple with or think. And it's why I don't subscribe to the idea of lengthy, detailed business plans with everything set out for the next 10 years. Because who foresaw Brexit, COVID, Putin? Who foresaw all of those things and wrote them into their business plans? So you've got to be able to spot opportunities and then, you know, take tangents.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, nobody could have predicted all of those things. So when somebody asks you, what do you do? How do you answer that? Or what is it that your business offer? How would you describe that?
Well, I would say that the ethos is to practice differently. With a background in commercial litigation and my best outcome being the least bad outcome for clients, it's always been trying to keep clients away from people like me by putting the right things in place and working collaboratively with their other professional advisors. Lawyers should really come behind accountants and wealth managers because they're dealing with the client's money. The lawyer's job is to make sure that there is safe documentation around that, for example. So it's about protecting our clients. Okay. That's really it. So it started.
And the service you offer, so that's conveyancing, litigation, what else?
No, that's one of the changes that I made this year.
Okay.
I trained and qualified a litigator, but it wasn't a team that I had any passion around building.
Okay.
High value litigation is a team activity, and it's not something that I wanted to concentrate on.
Okay.
So I grew into M&A, working with shareholders, acquisitions, transactional work. And the residential property came out of our owner managers making investments in residential property or selling. So we started to crystallize the different areas that we wanted to specialize in. Over time, I dabbled with opening a family and private client department. The messaging and marketing is far too different on that. And the fee earners tend to be even less commercial than most solicitors. So it wasn't something that flew during COVID. So I concentrated back down on our core activities, and that is working with founders and entrepreneurs, owner managers, where we deal with their corporate and commercial needs. So commercial property, commercial contracts, M&A, planning around exits, succession planning, EMI schemes, all of that stuff. So that's still a core of what we do, and that's where we started.
Got it. Yeah.
And out of that grew this thing, which is residential property. And I never saw that coming, because I saw that as quite a miserable, high volume, stress laden area.
So bring us back to a year ago. You were stressed. How many hours were you working at the time?
I mean, it's difficult to count, isn't it? Because it's not about being physically in the office. It's having that little device in your hand, which allows you to continue to work, you know, up until bedtime, and first thing in the morning, you're checking. Yeah. I've just gone to 2 mobile phones now because of that.
I remember you saying you were working around 80 hours a week.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then financially, like, where were you at that point?
So last summer was an all-time low, I would say. We had gone from between 60 and 85 a month. And then due to my not having a close enough eye, this is a lesson, on the management of the office and the accounts, and continuously firefighting, I was then not fee earning as I should and could have been, which had a big impact on income.
Right.
So last summer, following those great months, we took a real dip. And it seemed to me that I needed to plan very carefully for income for the firm that did not rest on me.
So even though you were earning quite well before that, it was relying on you to do that fee earning and to bring that in.
A lot
of it, right? Yeah, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And that has massive implications, because it means that the stress levels are immense. And if I'm out of action, where's that income coming from? Can I ever go on holiday? Last summer, I was in Albania for the annual summer holiday with family. And for 5 weeks in 40 degrees, I worked from 6:30 in the morning to, I would say, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I didn't have one day off last year. Wow. And it was painful for me and painful for my family to see. And that was the direct result of my not making great decisions and not being clear.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that the business, you felt you had to grow it so fast that you were just employing people just to fill a position, even though they weren't right for it, because it just felt better to at least have somebody rather than no one.
Right. Recruitment. Woo! What an adventure that's been.
So then I then wrote to you, we connected on LinkedIn, and then we got into conversations. What was it that interested you to have a conversation with me in the first place?
Your energy, really. I have, as I'm sure a lot of people in my position do, an awful lot of coaches getting in touch, asking me about how they can help improve my life, my business, and the rest of it. And I have taken up, you know, sort of exploratory offers before, not connected. And I know I'm a difficult person to work with. And it's just not been something I'm interested in. You didn't ask me to do loads of homework on spreadsheets. and you instantly got where I was coming from. And I think you could see where you could help. And I felt like you genuinely wanted to. And you were interested in the business that I'm in as a sector. So we could have more interesting conversations than simply, where do you want to be in 5 years? I don't know. Are we going to have Brexit too? I mean, I don't know. I want to be alive and I want to be having a decent quality of life, but I can't answer in spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And you got that.
So then when we started working together, what were some of the initial insights that you gained that you felt made such a difference to your success?
Okay, so this made a big step change to me. It was having a conversation around what I wanted to achieve, what I needed to achieve in the short term initially. So we put in place some ideas about where I wanted to be in 3 months, in 3 years.
Yeah.
And started working back, but in the way of a conversation. You know, not me disappearing onto a desk and going, oh, well, I want to be on X pennies in 6 months. It wasn't like that. And it was about identifying, moving towards that. What do I do in the next 7 days? What are my 7-day tasks?
Yeah.
Identifying those, knowing that you were going to hold me accountable the next week, and not wanting to get, you know, the look, and just going away and doing it. And then the sense of achievement when, like a little puppy dog, you would tell me, you've done that. That's great.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing it was helping you work out exactly what was the action that was the most important to take in the next 7 days, especially when a time of firefighting, focusing on it, and then getting the empowerment, the acknowledgement that you're completing what you need to then be on track, further empowered you to keep going.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So it became a process that I could see the end of.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important message for anyone in business. Everything is transitional. Nothing is as it is forever. Everything passes. In Greek, ta pandari, it all moves. You know, the old saying that you never step into the same river twice. So it's understanding that you are, to some extent, constantly going to be dealing with different things and just going, that's okay. I can deal with that. I know this. I can do this. And being methodical about it.
Yeah, nice. And then the other thing that happened was you started to have team members hand in their resignation.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah. Why was that?
I found my voice.
And what do you mean by that?
I found my voice. I found enough clarity to make the requests that the business needed me to make. I made those requests in the way they needed to be made. I held people accountable, and some people didn't like it.
So before that, you weren't holding them to account. You weren't checking their performance, and they were kind of taking advantage of you, so to speak.
Certainly were. Not so to speak. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Got it.
So,
and then what did that clarity and being able to make those clear requests make possible for you and your businesses?
To focus on the staff members who really got it and really wanted to achieve, and to help them achieve, and not be wasting time chasing around after people who were not serious. And I think politics are rife in every office, but in law firms, I have found over time it can be particularly toxic. I will not tolerate that at the firm. And I got rid of, it wasn't just resignations. I got rid of functions that didn't work for the business, or people who were detrimental to the team and the business.
And so I get that all of that became possible because you had clarity in what you were creating and building in your business. Because then after that, you went and employed a series of new people. How many did you have in your teams a year ago?
Oh, I haven't looked at the numbers, but let's say when I started Tiger Law, there were 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah.
For the next couple of years, it was probably quite organic and just taking members on, not making sure that they had adequate experience and supervision, my fault. And then in COVID, across the group, we went up to about 25, 26.
Yeah.
I'm a great proponent of flexible and remote working, so this is incredibly galling to me. But if someone has the nature where they're going to rush around a building clutching papers pretending to be busy, that's all the easier to do in a remote working environment. So I was a real sucker when it came to that, but it comes out in the wash. And I think I told you the other day, this has been quite interesting. When people go on holiday, you really see what they're up to and not up to.
Yeah.
So I remember a corporate assistant saying, constantly saying how busy they were. I said, okay, you're going on holiday. Can I have your handover note? Got the handover note. Oh, yes, I might have been exaggerating a little bit how busy I was. Do you mind if I swear? Oh, I'm going to.
So you had like 25 coming into COVID. By the end of COVID, how many was that in your team?
I think we went right back down to at Tiger. This is 10 or 11.
10 or 11. And then how many in Pixie Moves, Electra HR?
Oh, yeah. So Electra HR, I just kept that just alive after the adventure there. With a consultant.
Because when we started working together, Electra HR was like just alive. Pixie Moves, I think you had the same people that were also leading Tiger Law. Certainly the
well, we are, so one of my partners in the tech business and my head of Resi at Tiger are my partners at Pixie.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So we recruited conveyancers to come into that, but it's such a particular way of working that again, big learning journey around recruitment for Pixie, and just being a lot more careful and constantly monitoring, making requests, holding accountable, monitoring, adjusting, finding what's missing, fixing it. That's what the last year has been. So I would say that Pixie in August will be where it should have been last August, but it enabled us to continue to refine and learn and build relationships with introducers and the rest of it.
Because you've not just done that, you've used your time that then became available once you learned to make these clear requests. You were obviously delegating away your workload. So then you started to have your team becoming profitable and much better for the business as a whole. You then had free time. You then used that to invest in people to build the technology to speed up the whole conveyancing process, right?
Yeah. So I've always been interested in automating what I can around legal admin. Lawyers often like to pretend that they're reinventing the wheel when they get a new instruction. You're not. We're all working from templates. On the whole, it's the relationship part and the problem solving, which is what lawyers are for, which is why AI really isn't going to ever replace us. It's a tool to help us do a better job. So I used that experience to build a product in Tiger Bytes around the protocol forms and onboarding clients that enable Tiger to go much more quickly. And that's why Pixie was born, because we were up against the normal plodding time scales of traditional firms on the other side. So that's where Pixie came from. So once I started getting the right people in the right places, it meant that I could step back and look at the strategy for the firms and do what a senior partner should be doing.
So how many people do you now have in your teams?
So at Pixie, we've got 5 or 6. At Tiger, we've got 13 or 14.
Nice.
Tiger Bytes is the partners, and we're now starting to offer our product through third-party panels and so on.
Yeah.
So that's a slow burn, but it's great because we've been beta testing and perfecting and building new things for Tiger and Pixie. So now we can go to market with those things.
Wow.
And
So,
Electra is, it's got clients, a fantastic consultant who's very commercial, and I know I can leave her and trust her while supporting her.
yeah, brilliant. I know that the viewer is itching to know, okay, so kind of how well are you doing now financially? So I'll just share my screen here, and Vanessa's kindly offered me to share this here. So let me just move this up here. Can you still see my screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So here we have, so this is when we began working. So that's kind of your turnover at that low point there, or total in sales. And this is obviously only Tiger Law, but that was like 16K and then 13K and then 16K.
Horrific.
And then it's just climbed up 53, 73, 58, 43 to now, yeah, pretty much 60K plus months. So absolutely fantastic achievement. Well done, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And of course, as you explained to me, this is only just the beginning, because especially the business of conveyancing is very much a pipeline, because you have certain property vendors who market and sell properties online, offer the service to then have you guys then handle the conveyancing for them. And these contracts just coming through, they're building up, and you're processing how many property sales a month at the moment?
Well, we're taking between 120 and 150 clients a month, just from one introducer.
Wow.
So it's big, but the work is segmented. It's very carefully designed to be segmented, so all the pressure doesn't fall on the team leader. It's segmented across the assistant who comes before, the assistant who comes between the file being compliant and open and exchange. There's an assistant at pre-completion, and then a post-completion assistant. And we have various ways of dealing with reports, which take up a long time. So it's that introducer actually just wants to send us more and more and more. The issue is recruiting for it.
Well, interestingly, you've also shown me your future forecast, which I have here. So, you're looking at over 80,000 in July, and then, yeah, up from there.
Yeah, I mean, we've hit that before. But I played a huge part in hitting that before, as did one conveyancer.
Got it. And then here we can see here you're looking at April 24 to be on over 150,000 for that month. So that's fantastic. As you said, you've hit those levels of finance before. So what's changed? What's different now?
Okay, well, two things. One is that it's not dependent on me very much at all.
No.
And two is it was reasonably static at around 65, and there wasn't this forecast that we could see climbing into the clouds. Now that forecast is very achievable, and my job is now not drafting 90-page contracts, which takes me away from enabling my team to reach those targets. My job is to support and enable that to happen.
Nice.
Really different.
Yeah, wow. So you've moved from being a technician, a doer, somebody that focuses on your own hours, to now focusing on delegating, making clear requests of your team to take on that work, and then empowering them to do that effectively, and basically unleashing your team's potential is what you've learned to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, emotionally, personally, that's always been what I've wanted. I have always wanted to have people who are brighter and more capable than me around me and enable them to fulfill their potential. I've spent a few years watching people like moths bumping up against a light bulb, hitting the boundaries of their capabilities, which they had vastly overestimated. That's painful. And identifying the people who really do want to achieve and aren't just saying that. So now I have people on a variety of routes to qualification, and I mean a wide variety, at Pixie and at Tiger. And so it's not as altruistic as you might think, because my making myself obsolete entirely depends on having the right people fulfilling their potential in my business. So yes, I find it hugely gratifying that I've got an office manager who's on an SRA approved practice management course. I've got people on CLC, Stylex. I've got people on the route to SQE qualification to solicitor who never dreamed that they would be able to be solicitors. I've got law students who are going to be on the path. It's all in place. And it, you know, we're only 6 years old, but if I'm able to offer these avenues to people who really believe in the business that they're part of, then it's win-win for everyone.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love it. Absolutely love it. And so though your business is only 6 years old, and I was there as the speaker for your 6-year birthday celebration, which was amazing. The thing I got was speaking to your employees, and all of them that I got to speak to said they love working with you. They love it. And they all, and especially Rebecca, who's been with you for quite a while, said how she's noticed you change over the year. How you've got just so easy to speak to. What do you think that was about?
So year one of the business, I was pregnant with my third child, and found myself without a job because my overseas company decided it didn't want a pregnant employee as it tupied or phoenixed over to a new company. And so I spent that year getting bigger and bigger and having the baby in August. Rebecca's been with me since 2 weeks before I had the baby and ever since. And so she has been with me on every single adventure. And I guess I may have been difficult to talk to at times because the stress I was under was so colossal that I couldn't see through.
So what shifted now? What was it that we did that gave you the break free of that stress as such?
Well, I think the big thing is clarity. Clarity. And instead of seeing a huge wall in front of me, I would see the bricks it was made from and go, I'm going to deal with that one today, that one tomorrow, that one next week. And down it started to come. So
I was just going to say, I remember one insight that you got that made a big difference. Do you remember? There's never anything wrong.
There's only something missing.
That's it. Because when we see something is wrong, or we blame ourselves or blame others, then we can easily get frustrated and angry. But when we realize there's never anything wrong, there's only ever something missing, we just become really good at looking for what's missing and then taking the actions to put it in place, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always hold myself accountable when I've made errors, but not because I want to indulge in self-pity or beat myself up, but because I view it as a learning journey. So my errors have had disastrous consequences for the business and for me, but that's my fault. So when I haven't spotted a red flag or I haven't dealt with something correctly, I've acknowledged that, taken the learning, moved on. It's a bit like running at a sharp knife, cutting yourself and blaming the knife. No, it's you. You ran at it. So take that learning. Don't run at the sharp knife next time.
So, and of course, it's being able to do that without blaming yourself or making yourself wrong. It's just getting it right. There's nothing wrong. That's the action I took, and this is the result. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, brilliant. And so somebody's told me that you've been shortlisted for an award somewhere. Is this true?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I don't put myself up for these things because I'm not in it for, me. But yeah, I've been shortlisted for the Purpose Entrepreneur of the Year at the Great British Entrepreneur Awards.
The Great British Entrepreneur Awards. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, maybe. I've been invited to other stuff like I've been invited to join the Leaders Council. I'm up at Parliament at an event in a couple of weeks. It's very exciting. I was in the St. James's Place publication, 300 Years of Innovation and Leadership and stuff like that. So
Good on you.
thank you. I guess this is around my take on who should be in the law and doing my little bit to ensure that that opportunity is there, for inclusion of people from all walks of life who deserve that chance, who don't fit the mold necessarily of what traditional law firms are looking for.
Right. You were a real inspiration, and you could tell by the way that your employees spoke about you. You're really impacting their lives. And in turn, they're going on to impact all of your clients' lives. It's really amazing.
Thank you. It's not always smooth sailing. Things still need resolving, but it's the attitude to resolving it. So calm, clear, not emotional, not panicked.
And you have the space to be able to handle everything because you're not doing the fee earning now. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. So if somebody is interested in having a conversation with me, but is on the fence, what would you say to them?
Just do it. Do it. You're not like other coaches. You've had your own journeys. You're very open about that. So that's a connection which is immediately apparent. And that, you are not someone who was made unemployed, bought a franchise, and then thought they could start coaching business people. You've walked the walk. And I respect that. I don't respect people who didn't do very well over there, but want to come and tell me how to do well here. Doesn't work for me. So I know you know where I'm coming from in terms of stress management, life goals, the time you spend with your family, your focus on family and quality life.
Would you say that that's what you've got as a result of working with me?
Yeah.
Family?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I come back to that every time. I think I've got these, and this is my home phone with my children's artwork on the back. This is my work phone. It started coming out 7-8 o'clock at night, and then I think, no, this isn't what we work towards. Off.
Nice. And of course, you're able to do that because you're not directly in demand from your clients, and you've now got people who can be there for your clients should they need them.
That's right. So I'm heading to Albania for the summer, 5 weeks or so. The first 2 weeks I'm going to be off grid.
Wow. Off-grid. That's an actual holiday without a laptop for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that hasn't happened for a very long time.
Wow.
So I know that with the team that I have now and how committed and collegiate they are, they'll be fine.
Amazing. So what's your final piece of advice to a law firm owner or partner who's leading 10, 20, 30, who finds themselves still doing quite a lot of fee earning work and wants to take their business to the next level?
Yeah, it's about trust. Not delegating and not giving the work is because you don't trust the people around you to do the work as well as you can, which means you're not enabling them to do the work as well as you can. So you need to learn how to do that. You need to learn to let go of that control freakery that goes along with being a lawyer a lot of the time. So how are you going to learn to do that if you haven't done it yourself until now? You need to have conversations about this and open up, because that's neurotic. That's an issue for you, and you will never be free of it. You need someone to help you be free of it.
Okay. And you feel that I might be able to help them with that?
I do. I know you will. I know you will. Because, as I say, lawyers aren't naturally business people. They're lawyers. You can give advice about commercial law. That doesn't mean you are commercial, you know, and you need to come away. You need to step away, and you need things pointed out to you, and you need to be humble. You know, that's another, hubris is another quality that we tend to embody. So if you do want to not work 80-hour weeks, and you do want holidays, and you do want to delegate, and you do want to be able to trust people, you need to make that leap. That's not just going to happen. If you haven't managed it yourself so far, and you're still working long hours and not seeing the returns, what's going to change?
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Really, really sound advice from Vanessa Challess, a successful entrepreneur with a brilliant future ahead of you. Vanessa, I've loved working with you, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch and meeting you in London and at different events in the future.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Dan. Absolutely.
Thanks.
you.
Oh, really, I've loved it. I've loved it. I've always looked forward to dialing in for our calls, and, you know, you've earned your success. You're such an action taker. It's brilliant.
Thanks, Dan.